last time I knew about a work that you were doing. It was with Andy Barrows back in 2021, right? More or less, this album
Mhm.
follows that path of that album. But what made you decide to do this album on your own now?
Yeah, I think I just, selfishly, I wanted to make a record that was less collaborative. I wanted, I did think about doing another record with Andy, and we spent some time together working on songs. But in doing that process, I realized that it was the right time for me to do something on my own. I think part of that was I felt if I didn't do it, I probably never would. I don't know if that I don't know why that, but perhaps that's to do with my age. But I just felt like, and I had a whole, yeah, I don't know really. I wanted to put a record out that was a closer reflection of the songs that I write. And even on the most electronic and kind of confrontational editors' records, the songs that I've written would all start with me on an acoustic guitar, or piano, and that's how they always start. And obviously, with the band, they grow to something different. But yeah, I felt like I wanted to be selfish and do something closer to home.
I was going to ask you which one is your like your friendly instrument? Is it the guitar or is it the piano? I think oh very close to you always.
Yeah, mainly guitar, but also piano. I like both. I I spend a lot of time at them both.
Okay, let's talk about the your I mean the work with how is the name Ian Ian Ian
Ian
Ian.
Archer. Yeah.
Okay, Ian. Okay. Um, how did you meet him, and why did you decide to work with him?
So I met Ian years ago. So he was part of the kind of Snow Patrol gang, friends with them, and he was kind of in the band for a while as well. And around that time, this is kind of like 2005, 2006. Editors kind of played with them. We hung out and became quite good friends. And so yeah, I knew him kind of from back in the day as a bandmate. And since then, obviously, he's gone on to be quite a successful writer and producer. And when I was demoing my ideas and thinking about my record and talking about it with the label, his name came up in conversation. And I was immediately attracted to that because I know him, not professionally really, but I know him as a mate. So he just made a record last year, and the tone of it and the recordings were so beautiful. I thought, well, yeah, let's give it a go, really. And you never really know until you kind of meet with someone and work creatively, collaboratively, and if it's going to work out. But yeah, the first song we did together was Deep Dive, and I felt really kind of like that was a real moment for the record, and I kind of started to understand what I was trying to do.
Okay, so Deep Dive was the first song that you worked with him.
Yeah, yeah, it was because like obviously I knew I wanted to make an acoustic record and be more kind of stripped back and bare, but it's more than that. It's like the tone and the weight of the recordings, and you never know how that's going to feel until you get in a room with somebody. And even though I started out this process wanting to be more selfish and to be less collaborative, I ended up being probably more collaborative with Ian as a songwriter than I would do with editors. Really, like certainly with the lyrics and the songs themselves. He was really getting stuck into me, and we'd really kind of go backwards and forwards. So that was quite new and at times a little awkward for me. But like I say, I was kind of as soon as we recorded Deep Dive, I knew that we were going to do something that was felt right, you know.
So that was the test, right?
Yeah, I
But
think so. Because if you don't know until you have these moments of clarity what you're doing or who you're doing it with, really, you know, things can go different ways. And so, yeah, it was a moment of realizing that things were going to be okay.
okay, and that song did you both decide that it was going to be the tone for the record?
I think we talked about that. Yeah, you know, I was like, we were both kind of really into the atmosphere, and it's like it's about the space in between the notes as much as the notes themselves. It's about the kind of atmosphere and the oxygen that surrounds the recordings. And I think we were both like, oh, this is cool. This has like weight to it. And it was, you know, obviously it was an acoustic recording of acoustic instruments, but like, yeah, it felt like it had soul and weight. So yeah, you know, we were both, you know, it goes both ways. If he wasn't feeling it, we would have maybe done a couple of songs and then just said, all right, we'll work with somebody else. But you know, we ended up doing the whole record. So we were obviously all kind of on the same page, you know.
How many songs did you work together? I mean, 10 are going to make it to the record, but the
10,
whole.
there was a couple of others of things that like didn't quite make it, you know, for whatever reason. Perhaps we ran out a bit of time, but perhaps it's when I have like my intuition or gut instincts on the songs. You know, if I feel like a song is just not going to get there, I have this kind of little nagging voice in my head, and I'll be like, Ian, you know, I can call it quite early, but that's not to say that the bones of that song couldn't grow in a different environment into something that works. But no, we only completely finished 10 songs, but there was a couple of other bits and bobs. Yeah.
Okay. What about the lyrics? I felt a lot of nostalgia in the lyrics. For example, the song "Lights of New York City." When did you have that lyric? When did you write it? You wrote
Um,
it from your memory of like the lights of New York City, or were you there?
I mean, you know, I have been there, and I was a lot of the songs. I felt myself being quite nostalgic, not nostalgic. So, kind of looking back and thinking of past chapters of my life and of myself in those periods of time, and like, and just not. It's not like it's not like about getting old, but it's certainly about saying goodbye to youth. You know what I mean? Like thinking back of a younger version of me, and so that song is set in New York, very obviously, but it's more about, for me at least, being somewhere with somebody when there's that kind of youthful, wide-eyed wonder. You know what I mean? And missing that, and feeling like now in my mid 40s that feels like a long time ago. You know, and so yeah, acknowledging the passing of time, I guess, and kind of pining for that. You know, like when I go, like when we go. When I go to dinner, or when I'm with the band, okay, when we're at the pub, sat around, we will talk about shared experiences, and every time we were in that situation, we'll talk about whatever had happened, and we go, "Fuck, that was 15 years ago," or "Shit, that was or longer ago," and or we'll talk about how I don't know, my kid, like some of our kids are going to university, and like it's so natural. Do you know what I mean? But then it kind of it shocks you, you know, and it's like I said, it's not. I'm not moaning about getting older. It's, you know, it's part of life and it's beautiful. It's more just missing youth, you know.
Okay, okay.
I felt like it's on quite a lot of the songs, you know. I was, yeah. Anyway,
Okay, there is also a lot of balance in this record. Some songs that can feel very intimate,
hmm
but end up being like something big, like Life for Living, for example. When you released that song, the single, I mean, I remember heard it and I was listening to it, but when it got to the chorus, it is that it got me, right? With that phrase also, life is for living. Um, how how do you get to that? Or maybe, wait, let's put it in another way. It seems that you find that like the middle ground in this song between the intimacy and the
Mhm.
epic,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know, really. Like things when I'm songwriting,
Like the songs went growing without noticing.
things quite naturally with me get epic. Probably too much so. I'm always kind of drawn to the drama, and the band are as well. But obviously, with this record, and I think the lyrics are more personal. They're certainly more direct. They're less ambiguous. But like, it was about that. Like you say, it was about trying to find that balance of, with that song in particular, retaining the kind of intimacy and the closeness, but just knowing how at that moment to progress it, to take it somewhere moving, because it is a grand statement to make. Do you know what I mean? Like this, the lyric can take an arrangement at that point if you want to push that button. So with Ian, and it was about, like you say, just trying to obtain or trying to get that balance right. That song again with Ian, like it was about, I had a song that was slightly different before, and that lyric was part of that song, but it wasn't the whole song. And I was strumming it around, and I sang that refrain, and it was never as repetitive as it is now. But like, Ian was like, "No, stop. We need to just take that and let's work. Cut that out of that song, throw everything else away, and let's work on that and try and find a way for that to exist as a more of a calling card for it." And it's like, it's cool, man. I just, I've never worked like that before. I've never had somebody pull me apart like that and chop me up and push me.
Did you find this record was easier or was a lot of effort from your side being a solo album?
Well, I never really, well,
Yeah, I know that it is Ian over there, but it's you
yeah, no,
showing
no,
your
no,
face.
no. It is a solo record, and I didn't. I haven't given it too much thought, really. I just kind of went on instinct and did it. And it's not until very recently that it started to feel a bit more real. Talking to people like yourself, or I just did a little tour around the UK, playing kind of really small, intimate acoustic shows, and obviously I was playing a lot of my record and a lot of editor songs as well. But doing that, brought the thing into focus more than it had been, because it felt like a project. It felt like something I wanted to do, but I've not really processed the fact that it's me shouldering the whole thing. And I think I'll be fine. But it's we'll see how we go. I've not had any kind of sleepless nights over it, but I think you know just doing stuff, whether that be outside of the things that you're accustomed to. For me, obviously outside of the band, and I've always thought just doing stuff is good for the soul, and like it all feeds back and helps you out really. It'll help the band out. It'll help me out, and so we'll see. Whatever happens, I'll put this record out and do some more shows, and then I'll go back to editors, and then I might make another Tom Smith record at some point. It's just it will be what it will be. But yeah, I think it's good for the soul.
Okay. Now that you mentioned just the shows, how were the shows? The tour was UK and Ireland, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really
It's only
lots of.
you, or you have musicians with you?
I had a friend of mine, one musician, so it's two of us on stage, and it was just we were just driving ourselves around, me and Nick. It was really amazing. We were playing lots of places that you wouldn't usually go to, kind of smaller, more remote towns and venues, and yeah, to about anywhere from 90 to 150 people a night. So quite small, and lots of awkward silences, and it's, it was beautiful. It was amazing. Like I'd not been out and felt so connected to an audience ever really, because obviously with the band, there's a there's a volume thing, there's a divide, and there's a I go backstage after the show and get on the bus, and but this was like you were there in the room together, and then we'd go and sell T-shirts afterwards, and people would just come and say hi and ask for a photo and tell me about their relationship with my songs and with editors, and there's quite a lot of people being really amazing and saying really amazing things, and yeah, it was kind of wonderful, really. So yeah, it was a good thing to do.
Okay. I saw that Edith took your photos for this album.
She did.
Uh, was she involved in something else in approving the songs?
No, no, no. She's not. No, it's like we wanted. I felt it felt right to have a quite a intimate portrait, and me being relaxed and kind of just made sense for for Edith to take the pics. It's like she, she's into her photography, and she's always taken it quite seriously. So yeah, it was cool. But no, she doesn't have final say over the songs themselves. Let's not get carried away.
Okay, please tell her that I love her. I follow
Okay,
all her work, and I love.
I
Okay,
will.
thank you so much, Tom.
Bye
That's
bye
all
now.
for me. Bye bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. See you again. Bye bye now. Bye.
Bye.